Everyone, Dr. Stacy Howegger here. I am excited to be with you all this evening, or if you're catching the replay. So tonight, it's me. I am here sharing with you about LifeWave's technology. I know it's been a hot second. I'm always interviewing different doctors and practitioners, people that are using LifeWave's technology in their practice. And tonight we have a night where we don't have anybody. And so I'm like, oh, yay, I get to be sharing the information tonight again, like I did so much in the past. Even though I really do love having the doctors and practitioners on. I love hearing different perspectives from different people and how they're utilizing this in their practice. We do have Amy, who is Greg's wife, coming on next week, and she will be sharing more information about the bioel. And then the following week, we've got another chiropractor that you haven't heard from yet that's going to be jumping in. So tonight is all science and tech. I am going to go through A, B, C, D, all the way down to Z in our 30 minutes that we have here. But before we get started, I need you to understand, I am not a medical doctor. So any information that I am sharing tonight is not intended to make any claims to prevent, treat, cure, or diagnose anything. And of course, if you're pregnant or nursing, if you have medical issues, you're on medicines, whatever, please check with your healthcare provider. They will be able to guide you in best what serves your needs. And the information that I'm sharing tonight is for informational purposes. With that being said, let's dive right in because we've got a lot to share, a lot to talk about tonight. So if you're new to LifeWave, or if you're a guest watching for the first time, what is this? How does this work? How is this going to help me? What can it do for me? What can I expect? Those are all questions that everyone has. I know I had them in the beginning. I just wanted to know, honestly. I just wanted to know, how much was it? How fast could I get it? Could I walk out the door with it immediately? When the man told me one word what this was, I'm like, yes, I am in. Give it to me now. And I walked out the door with it that day. I understand the power of the body's ability to heal itself. And I knew that this technology could activate that body's power. So I want to talk to you about what that is. So this is what we're talking about this evening. This is a non-transdermal patch. This patch is the X39. This patch is the patch that has put LifeWave on the map. But believe it or not, LifeWave is actually a 20-year-old company. It may not be in your realm of the world right now that you knew about, but it is here, and it's been here for a really long time. And so I want to give you just a little bit of background about that before I go into what this non-transdermal patch is and what it does and how it can help you. So the inventor of this technology, his name is David Schmidt, and David Schmidt is in his early 60s. He's an inventor, a scientist, a researcher. He is someone that is passionate about helping people improve their quality of life. And back up 20 plus years ago, he was working for the Department of Defense. His company was contracted by them for the little mini SEAL, Navy SEALs training, like a mini sub mission kind of thing. Super secret black ops undercover mission. Like, we were never supposed to know anything about that. But he was inventing survival equipment for them. And things are going really well with all the things he invented. And they asked if he could help contribute to the problem the SEALs were having with sustainability, endurance, stamina, and energy in the field. They were on a lot of uppers, stimulants, caffeine, amphetamines, that kind of stuff. And so David invented the first patch, which is called Energy Enhancer. And the Energy Enhancer is a 2-patch system. It triggers beta oxidation. We're not going to get into this tonight, but know that that patch worked really well for the SEALs, turning their body fat into fuel, and was able to help them come off of those stimulants back then. And then, of course, here in the U.S., 9/11 happened. Our country, our Department of Defense took another turn, right? Obviously to protect the country and bear more arms. And so they weren't working on that mini submission with the SEALs that they had been. And so David found himself in a position of, what am I going to do? I'm not doing what I thought I was going to do. Where am I going to be led? And of course, being divinely led at all times, he started working with Stanford University's swim coach, Richard Quick, who is a 6-time USA Olympic gold medalist, female athletes coach. And so 2 years of clinical studies at Stanford University, David then decided, after a series of events, that he would start the company LifeWave, because he found out very quickly this was not going to be something to sit on the shelves. So if you haven't seen it, you haven't heard from it, it's not in your world, right? You didn't know it existed. It's because it's not out on the shelves. It's not in GNC. It's not at Walmart. It's not sold on TV shows, infomercials, things like that. David knew that this needed to be an experiential product that people talked about and shared with their family and their friends and people they met during their life. And so he started LifeWave. And LifeWave, like I said, is a 20-year-old company. So let's fast forward a little bit. Over the last 20 years, David has invented a dozen different patches. So not just the X39, but a dozen different ones, each doing something different. Now, we're not going to get into that tonight, what they are, what they do. You can definitely watch some of my videos on YouTube. I went in depth with each patch, but I want you to know that 10 years of research. Okay, so the first 15 years of LifeWave, David's inventing patch after patch after patch. Different patches do different things. But 10 years of that first 15 years, he was in research trying to figure out how to do what the X39 does. And that's what I'm going to share with you tonight. This patch has been on the market just over 5 years. And this patch is what's put us on the map, really, literally, because of what this patch does and how it has impacted millions of people's lives globally. LifeWave is a global company. We are in 82 countries. We have 15 corporate offices and distribution centers around the globe. Our main manufacturing and distribution is in this country, in the United States. I know we have people in many countries, but in this country, we're over in San Diego, California, with our global headquarters in Draper, Utah, where we have the largest manufacturing facility that's over in Galway, Ireland. So multiple places around the world are shipping this patch into their areas. So the X39, because of what happened about 5 years ago with the pandemic, the X39 really started taking off because people were looking for ways to help themselves to be healthy, right? To boost their immune system, to improve their life, to stay healthy. You all know what we experienced 5 years ago. And so we have found ourselves online right now on Zoom, helping people all over the globe to learn about this technology and what it is and how it can help them, and share the stories, the testimonials of people, but also to be able to share the clinical studies, the research, the evidence. We have double-blind, placebo-controlled, peer-reviewed studies. And whoever invited you here tonight, they can definitely get you that information. So if you like to read and research, like myself, being a PhD in integrative medicine and a PhD in functional medicine, I love the facts, I love the data, I love the science. But if you're someone that wants to hear stories, we have over 5,000 recorded testimonials, and they can give you access to those as well too. So whichever side or both, if you want to hear that, I know I'm very passionate about the testimonials that people have shared with this technology. It's honestly mind-blowing. So let's get into it. So this non-transdermal patch, non-transdermal means nothing enters my body. No medicine, no chemical, no drug, no herb, no nutrient. Nothing is entering in my body through the skin. You're familiar with pain patch, nicotine patch, birth control patch. Those are all patches that put a chemical or a medicine or some type of something into the skin. That's the delivery method. You know your skin is your largest organ. Whatever you put on it, something from it is going in, whether it's a shower gel, a lotion, a shampoo, an oil, whatever. So this does not work that way. This is a wearable light technology. And so that means when I put this patch on my body, there's nothing entering through my skin except a wavelength of light. So I want to talk to you a little bit about light therapy. I know you're probably familiar with light therapy. Many of you have probably heard of lasers, red light lasers, blue lasers, cold lasers. If you've been to a chiropractor or an acupuncturist, I'm sure you're familiar with red light therapy. That's all the rage now. I've been using red light therapy for, I don't even know, 15 plus years. They've got the pads, right? They've got the face mask. There's even beds you can lay in now. There's so many benefits to light therapy. We own an infrared sauna. And so we sit in that sauna and push a program, and different wavelength of light come out and do different things at the cellular level. Push a different program and different wavelengths of light come out and do something different at the cellular level. And I'm sure you all are familiar with the sun, right? The sun, we know when we get in the sun, I love the sun. Sun is so healing, so restorative. I always get that early morning light, sunlight into my eyes. It's just so powerful for what it does at the cellular level and what it does with your circadian rhythm. It's just amazing. But the wavelengths of light, we know that enter our body that are elevating specific things, right? They're creating change, like elevating melanin, which give you the dark color to your skin, or elevating vitamin D, which is a hormone that is so powerful for everything in your body, right? You've got to keep that vitamin D level up. And so when we look at this technology, I don't need the sun. I don't need a sauna. I don't need red light beds. I don't need blue light, red light, cold laser. I don't need anything, because I'm the power source. If you put your hand on your chest, you're about 98.6 degrees. And that body heat that you are emitting is what this patch is working with. Now, how do I know I'm emitting body heat? Sit down next to someone in the airplane. You'll definitely find out real soon when they're emitting too much body heat and you're like, oh my God, where's the overhead fan? Because someone next to you their heat is coming into your area. Or let's take it a little bit more on a daily basis. I do happen to be on quite a few airplanes lately. But let's take it a little bit more into your home. If you're a woman and you jump into bed like Laura does and she snuggles up next to Tommy because he's all nice and warm and toasty, that's because his body heat is keeping her warm. Or if you're Stacy here and I jump into bed and I'm telling Brent, get to the other side because I don't want your body heat anywhere near me. Don't even think about it. So you know that heat, you can feel that off of people, right? And so that is what our technology works with. We can measure our body's light or heat that we're emitting. If we go outside right now, it's dark. It's 8:15 at night. There's no sun out there. And so if I walk outside, I can't see the panthers, the alligators, the bobcats or boars or anything else out there in the woods. And I sure can't see my neighbors down the road. But if I had night vision goggles, I would be able to see them in their outlines of the colors from the heat, whether it's red, blue, green, yellow, whatever, orange, from their body's heat. And so that's what our patch works with. So when I get up in the morning, I put this patch on. This is the X39. I can put it on the back of my neck. I can put it up below my belly button. I can put it anywhere I want. It does not matter because my whole body is emitting heat or light. You know that now. Why do I put my patch here? I think there's every video someone has asked me, what patch is on your chest? Whichever one I grab out of my bag. But right now it happens to be the X39. I put it here so you can see it because we're on Zoom. And that's why, right in front of your face so you can see it. You wouldn't see it if it was on the back of my neck. So it goes anywhere. If you have a pain point like Laura did the first time that I saw her I invited her to an event and I saw her there and she was talking about a recent shoulder injury and I put that patch on her shoulder, one patch that I had, put it on her shoulder, and in 20 minutes she had more mobility and range of motion. Within an hour she could actually she could raise her hand up above her head, and she was able to do all the things she wanted to do that she wasn't able to previous. The patch helped reduce her pain and helped to give her some more mobility. Does it always happen that fast for everybody? No, it doesn't. I didn't feel anything for 3 weeks. Brent, who has wrecked every moving vehicle he's just about ever been on, motorized vehicles, cars, four-wheelers, trucks, motorcycles, you name it. He has everything that's been broken in his body except for his right leg. And so when he put the patch on, he didn't feel anything for 3 or 4 weeks. It took some time. We're all different. But no matter what, it's working from the second we put this patch on. So what is happening then? When I put this on in the morning, I get up immediately. What happens is a wavelength of light enters my body. And that wavelength of light that I do not see or feel is going to elevate a peptide in my body. Now I want you to write this down. GHKCU. GHK-CU. It's copper peptide. You can go to PubMed and type in GHKCU. You will see 13 pages of research on the benefits of GHK. Now, how do you get GHK? Well, GHK is most commonly known from the estheticians because they use it in their creams and serums to tone and firm the skin to help with lines and wrinkles and spots. Well, you can also inject it, and some biohackers inject GHK every day because they're using it for the fountain of youth. That's what GHK is known for a longevity peptide. So what is a peptide? A peptide is just a chain of protein amino acids, the building blocks of your body. You have thousands of them in your body, but GHK's ability declines as you age. So this elevates GHK immediately. Our patent states that we elevate GHKCU in the blood. So what happens from there? Well, there's lots of benefits from GHK, as you'll find from those 13 pages of research, but we don't have time to get into that. Just know there are pain reduction benefits, as Laura experienced. For some people, that happens immediately. For some, it takes a little bit longer. There's also benefits with sleep. Tommy, her husband, came down that afternoon as well when she got on the phone and said, "You're going to want to hear this." And he came down and we put a patch on the back of his neck. Thank God someone had one there and they gave it to us. And we put that on the back of on his neck, and he walked away. And the next day he said, "I haven't slept that good in years." So for him, it was a deep sleep that night that he experienced. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer before you get that deep sleep, but we know people experience that from elevating GHK. We can also see neurological benefits. We can see cardiovascular benefits, and the wound healing is miraculous. We can see a 40 to 50% reduction in the healing time from someone that has had an accident, an injury, or a surgery. The pictures are really mind-blowing, and whoever invited you here, they can share some of those pictures with you. I have a surgeon on my team. Many of you have seen probably me interview him a couple times, Dr. Adam Shiner, and he has required his patients that fly in from all over the world for his surgery to start on the X39 at least a month before they have surgery and a minimum of 6 months after surgery because of the reduction in the healing time. So elevating GHK is so powerful for so many things. But the main thing that I want you to know is when you put this patch on, we are literally from that second up-regulating or resetting over a third of your genes back to their young, youthful, healthy state. And one of those genes is responsible for activating and elevating and mobilizing those cells in your body that are responsible for repairing and regenerating whatever's needed. So I want to take you back here just for a minute so you can understand really the power of this technology and why I was so interested from day one. And I just wanted to know how much it was and how fast I could get it. So when I was pregnant with my daughter, Taylor, back then, this was almost 24 years ago, we didn't have like cell phones like this with internet and all that, the capabilities, right, that we do. And I was watching a learning channel show, and I saw about this group of people that were healing African American children of sickle cell anemia. And they were doing that with cord blood. So when you have the baby, there's the placenta and there's the cord that connects the mom and the baby. They were using that cord blood to heal these children. Now I thought, what is cord blood? Cord blood, come to find out, has all these stem cells in it. And stem cells have the ability to become what we call pluripotent, which means they can become changeable. They can turn into anything that the body needs. And so for these children, this cord blood, these stem cells were going to literally repair their blood. And they no longer had sickle cell anemia. And I went, whoa, that's mind-blowing, right? This is almost 25 years ago. And so they go on to talk about the long-term potential benefits for heart disease and diabetes and Alzheimer's and dementia and cancer and any type of, issue health-wise that people would have. If they had this cord blood, they could give that to them and that could help heal their body. And I thought, wow, that sounds like something I would be interested in. Well, believe it or not, the next week I get a postcard in the mail. And that postcard was from a company called Viacord that wanted to mail me a packet of information about banking my unborn child's cord blood at birth. And I thought, okay, you know, there was no display marketing, advertising, like that didn't exist. This was a TV show. And then here comes a postcard in the mail. Well, of course, I filled that baby out. I thought this is a divine tip from God right here. Filled it out, mailed it off immediately the next day. And sure enough, here comes this packet of information. And I read over everything and I'm like, stem cells are it. We've got to bank our kids' cord blood. It was $2,500. And Brent's like, you're crazy. Everybody said, you're crazy. And I said, I do not care. This is what I'm doing because I was divinely led to do this and I'm going to do this. So we banked both of our kids' cord blood. They stayed in a cryo facility, that cord blood, in Cincinnati, Ohio for 18 years. They're viable for 18 years. So let's fast forward just a teeny tiny bit, okay? When my daughter was 4, and many of you have heard this story, she was misdiagnosed with multiple types of cancer. We ended up in the hospital. They wouldn't give her back her cord blood. We're not going to go down that road. You can catch that whole story on another YouTube. But I want you to know, after we got out of the hospital, what did I start doing? Everything holistic, right? She had suffered many issues in that hospital, had no longer had a child that could walk or talk or take care of herself. And so after about a year and a half weaning her off all the medicines, we took a deep dive into stem cell therapy. And even though they wouldn't give her back her cord blood, we found ways. We used hyperbaric oxygen chamber therapy. We found places that would actually give her donor stem cells. And so we would travel out of the country to do stem cell therapy. So when I found out about X39 4 years ago and what this patch could do, like that, without going anywhere, without traveling anywhere, without spending hundreds of thousands of dollars out of pocket, in a non-invasive way, I could put this patch on the back of my daughter's neck and she could go to school and it would activate her body's own ability to heal itself. And not only that, the rest of the family could do the exact same thing every day. Now, given her younger brother, had no health issues, no concerns, nothing, we were just kind of cleaning the cobwebs out because that's what David had said you do with kids. Put the patch on them. They have nothing wrong with them. Clean the cobwebs out, right? We know that X39 elevates glutathione a little bit, so it's going to help with their immune system, maybe a little digestion, just a little kind of, I don't want to say preventative, but, just kind of clean things out, kind of like a little detox. But for us, for Brent and I, all those years of stem cell therapy with Taylor, traveling back and forth out of the country, we wanted stem cells. We wanted them. I wanted them. I'll be honest. I wanted them for vanity reasons. I wanted them for the anti-aging component. And I also wanted them for prevention. I wanted to prevent those top 5 killers I've mentioned. I wanted them for longevity, vitality, and overall wellness. Brent wanted them because his body was physically a wreck from all of the wrecks that he had had all those years. So we wanted them. We just couldn't justify or afford that $25,000 per injection that we were doing for Taylor. And so for him, it was really about the longevity as well as the flexibility, mobility, and being able to not continue to decline in his physical stature from all the damage that had happened. And so we were so excited and passionate about this ourselves. And like I said, of course, I contacted Laura initially and I was like, I knew her health journey and how she had cured herself of stage 3 breast cancer years before that. And I said, you got to hear about this technology. There's something here that is really going to help you in your continued quest of health and ultimate health and being able to increase your not only your lifespan but your health span. And of course, boom, she was there, right? Like, I'm in. If this is something you think is going to be great for me, I want to hear about it. And so being able to learn from David and watch the videos and hear him in person was so monumental and instrumental in the beginning of our journey with LifeWave. So where are we now? What has happened? What's transpired since then? Literally millions and millions of people over the last 4 years have found out about this technology, and they're using it on themselves and their family and their friends and their coworkers. They're sharing it with people rapidly. We literally have grown 3,000%. I almost said 300,000, 3,000% in the last 5 years because of this technology and what it's doing for people. So what is it doing? I've mentioned some of the things already: the sleep, the energy, the mental clarity, the focus, the concentration, the pain reduction, the wound healing. Those are pretty common. But those things, albeit they're important, don't get me wrong, they're important. We really look at what happens inside of the body when you continue to patch on a daily basis. So we recommend you wear this for 12 hours a day. Get up in the morning, put it on, leave it on 12 hours, take it off, throw it away, or put it on your pet if you so desire. I have a Frenchie that's 6.5 that gets our patches because she's, she's a big girl and she's getting a little older there in her age, trying to barely get up on the couch. So, we patch her in the evening. The 2-year-old poodle, nope, she still runs around like a crazy little puppy. But you want to patch every single day consistently. When you're elevating peptides compound over time. When you're activating these cells that are responsible for repair and regeneration in your body, that compounds over time. So this is not a quick fix. When we look at our clinical studies, really the earliest we start to see something what I would say is significant is around that 6-week mark. And you may not feel this, but this is what's happening on the inside. We see the cardiovascular system functioning younger, 2 months younger than it was before. You can measure the age of your cardiovascular system. That's very common. Check with your cardiologist. They'll tell you exactly how old your heart is, how old your vascular system is. So we can see at 6 weeks that it's reversing its functionality by 8 weeks. Compound that over time. And that's where we see big changes in people's cardiovascular system, which we know is the #1 killer heart disease is. So we want to keep this ticker young and healthy and youthful. The second thing we can really see around that 6-week mark is changes in the brain. And obviously we only have one heart and one brain, and they're both vitally important to our overall health and well-being. But when we look at the clinical studies, you can see a brain, and there's lots of brains being studied, but you can see through the colors, basically, we'll just call it that, the different type of brain mapping. You can see a brain that's red, fiery, hot, means anxiety. Right brain, left brain are not communicating. We've got a lot of stress. We have a brain that the cognition is not as sharp as it should or could be. And you can see a little bit of change in 3 weeks, but at 6 weeks, you can see a brain that's calm. And this is why we have people say, I just feel different. I have a different level of joy, or I'm just a little happier than I was before. People notice that in you. And so that compounds as well. And so when you look at what happens when you continue to patch past that 6-week mark, we see improvements in the digestion. We see improvements in the immune system. We see improvements in not only the cardiovascular and the neurological, but when we really start to see those physical changes. At around 90 days, collagen production amps up. We know after 18, maybe you don't know this, but after 18, your collagen declines 1% every year. And the collagen is not just for the hair, skin, and nails, which most people think it is. Collagen is the glue that holds your body together on the inside. It is so responsible for those joints. It's responsible for your digestion. It's responsible for your metabolism. So it's not just the hair, skin, and nails. Make sure that you understand collagen production is key to your longevity. It's been all the rave for a while. This collagen peptide, this collagen protein, right? Take these. They are peptides, obviously. But you're usually only getting 1 or 2 kinds. There are 5 types of collagen. When you elevate your own collagen, you increase your own collagen, you're increasing all of it. So the benefits are systemic in all ways. And so not to mention past that 90-day mark, that's when we really start to see some pretty significant changes with people. Yeah, maybe people see differences in your skin. They may notice differences in, your mood. Maybe you're sleeping better because you're in less pain. Maybe you have less brain fog. But that really compounds. And for those of us that have continued to patch, we see dramatic changes. If you look at the before and after pictures, you'll notice that people have literally reversed their age. And how is that? How is that happening? Because it's an inside job. And we'll finish up talking about water here tonight. But aging is an inside job. And the longer you patch, the more benefits you're going to gain. Why am I still patching 4 years later? I'll be 51 this year, but my biomarkers show that I'm 25. I don't know a 25-year-old with all the top 5 killers. So for me, prevention is super important. If prevention's important to you, what if it takes you 4 years to be half your age? all we have is time, right? You're either going to get younger or you're going to get older. You're either going to get healthier or you're going to get sicker. You're either going to feel better or you're going to feel worse. So you have a choice tonight, right? But remember, get back with that person that invited you. They're going to help you decide what works best for you. We have several wholesale packs and they can help you get set up with that. And the last thing I'll share with you with the water, this is key. It is so important that you stay hydrated, period, no matter what. Every single day, at least half your body weight in ounces, more if you're consuming caffeine or alcohol. But when you're patching, we want you to feel the best. We want you to have the best and the fastest results that you can possibly have. Water is going to help you do that. This is a cellular technology. This works at the cellular level. And so you need the water for the conductivity for these patches to work their optimal. So make sure you stay hydrated. Use your Celtic sea salt or electrolytes. Should be any day now. We're going to get our Cellergize. So you'll be putting that in your water to give you all the electrolytes and amino acids you need for those patches to work the best they can. Thank you all for being here this evening. I hope you learned something new. I hope you share this with someone else so they're able to gain just as much information, just like I did in the very beginning watching those videos, as I still watch David's videos every time he comes out with a new one. So thank you all and have a fantastic evening.